I'm here for this sit down video. I got tea. It's actually tea, it's not coffee. How cute's my mug? I wanted to go for the whole brown look. No nails done, still in quarantine, still locked up, except tomorrow I gotta go back thrifting for the first time in literally 2 months, so I'm so excited about it. But hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Melissa. I asked you guys a few days ago on Instagram to ask me questions about reselling. So I feel like this has been a really long overdue video. I just never really thought that there would be that many questions, and you guys came up with some of the most brilliant questions. Actually, Fran was really good with organizing the questions, so shout out to her. Yeah, you guys asked some really like in-depth questions that I didn't even think would be asked, and I'm very impressed. So I have all these questions to answer for you guys. If you're here as like a reseller that wants to do it full time, this is a really good video for you. And even if you're just looking for a side hustle, this is also a really good video for you. I highly suggest reselling right now. With COVID, it's really hard to find a job, and reselling is probably keeping the rent and the dinner and food on people's plates right now. So definitely think about it if you've not done so already. It's a good alternative if you can't find a job right now. And I'm gonna teach you a couple ways and a couple little tips, actually a lot of tips. Like I literally went full school mode with this. Like I did more on this than I ever did in university, I swear. But yeah, I have a bunch of tips for you guys, tips and tricks. I have learned a bunch of the way. I've been doing it for about 5 years now, and I have a lot of experience. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've learned from my mistakes, and I would love to tell you guys some of my secrets that I wasn't sure if I should spill, but you know what? I'm gonna spill them to you. So here we are, spilling my secrets and how you can go ahead and make yourself a bag in a year, in a month, in a year, in a month, in a year. So let's get right into this video. But if you're new here, please subscribe. Check out my Instagram. It's at threadsobsessed. And of course my Depop, which we're going to be talking about a lot in this video, is Melissa8. I also have a TikTok, which is Melissa Tatty, and also a podcast, which is Unthreaded. And definitely check out our most recent episodes. Super fun stuff. So definitely check out my podcast Unthreaded. But without further ado, I think that's about it. Let's get into this video. Okay, first of all, I would just like to start off with letting you guys know that reselling is something that looks very simple from the outside, but is the most time-consuming thing that I've ever done in my whole entire life. Yes, it looks like you just take a picture, you thrift it, you resell it, you make the money, blah, blah, but it is time consuming. So before you get into this video and you're just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna make like a bag really quick. No. It's going to take some time. It's gonna take some work. It's gonna take some dedication. So we're gonna get into that. The first thing that you need to do is pick your platform. There are a ton of different platforms that you can resell clothing on. It depends on what you are looking to do. I find that each platform has its own identity in a way. I find, for me, I sell on Depop, so I think I'm going to be talking a lot more about Depop, but a lot of the tips that I'm going to be giving are pretty general to be for any platform. I wrote down 5 different platforms that you can sell on. There's probably more, but these are the 5 most popular in my opinion. The first one is eBay. I find that eBay is more for higher priced, higher tagged items, like a Chanel bag or something like that, some really expensive anything. And I don't resell on eBay, but my dad does, and he resells like $3,000 hockey cards and like hockey cards and all that. Like that's his side business, that's his side hustle. So eBay is good for like very like old vintagey stuff as well. Things maybe like little knickknacks also. I suggest eBay if you're looking for if you're trying to resell your designer items. And then Poshmark, I have never used Poshmark. It actually wasn't available in Canada for a very long time. I'm still not sure if it is or not, but a lot of you guys had always asked like why I didn't do Poshmark, and it's because it literally wasn't in Canada for as long as I knew, and then I think recently it might have started to become a Canadian thing. But I find that Poshmark is more of like a sell out your closet type of website. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just kind of the vibes that I got from it. Depop, I find, is more of like the aesthetically pleasing Y2K 90s. It's the app that everybody makes fun of, but it's basically like Instagram in a selling platform. I find it's very like, it's more aimed for like the younger generation and things that you would see on Instagram, and I find that's what I thrift most of, and that's where I think my stuff would sell best. So that's the platform that I picked for myself personally. Then there's Etsy, which the girl who I had filmed my last video with, Emma, where I went and shopped her whole entire inventory, you should definitely check that video out. She sells and finds the best platform for her is Etsy, because she sells a lot of more vintage items like vintage gowns and vintage dresses and things that maybe wouldn't sell as well on Depop, she found. So that is something to think about as well. And then Instagram, again, is similar to Depop. I personally do sell on Instagram. If you want to check out my Instagram, it's shop@threadsobsessed. It is, I sell in Canadian on Depop if you want to buy Canadian, and it's very similar to Depop. I find the same kind of sellers sell on Depop and sell on Instagram. That's my opinion. Okay, I got a lot of questions about lighting. So I personally have gone through a lot of different techniques with lighting. I have lived and I have learned with lighting, and the first thing that I can tell you guys is lighting is the most important part of reselling. If you have good lighting, your item is 100 times more likely to sell, and this is just from trial and error, and that is literally what I've learned most of the time. For me personally, I use 2 box lights and 1 ring light. I don't know why, but that is the setup that I got, and I've stuck with it, and it works for me. I got all my lighting from Amazon, pretty inexpensive, not too bad. However, if you live in a warm climate, I highly recommend using natural light. The only issue with natural light is it's only light for a couple of hours, and finding the right spot and finding the right lighting can be a little bit difficult. But when I use natural lighting in the summer, my stuff flies. Like, I can sell things so quickly. When I go to Florida and I take pictures outside, my stuff flies off Depop. So it definitely comes like, I don't know what it is, but I think the natural lighting, it makes items look a little bit better too. However, for me, this is how I can get the most items out at a time. I also live in Canada where it's gloomy and freezing outside for half of the year, more than half the year. So it's not realistic. I would only be able to get like 10 items up like every once in a while if I did use outdoor lighting. So if you are somebody that's looking to make this more of a hobby and not a career, I do highly suggest taking your pictures outside, especially if you live in a hot climate. So jealous, or like at least a sunny climate. But yeah, my lighting works for me perfectly fine. I do love what I do, and plus I take a lot of pictures at night. I just find, like, I don't know why, I get my work day starts at 3 p.m. Like, I don't know what I am doing, but like, that's just the way I am. Okay, the next question that I get often is, what do I do with the items that don't sell? I honestly haven't had the biggest issue with this yet. I seem to be pretty lucky with being able to turn items over pretty quickly. There has been a couple times where things have sat for like a year or a year and a half and then it has sold, but for the most part, I'm pretty good at turning things over. The only time that I ever really cleaned out my inventory was right after I finished school, and I filmed my whole video of cleaning out my inventory. And the one thing that I realized that I really needed to not buy back then was Champion pants. And the thing that I basically bought out every time I went to the thrift, when Champion and those like Kappa pants were so big, I would go to the thrift and just try to buy out all of that. Unfortunately, that was a trend that came and went so quickly that I couldn't even keep up with it, and I had so much of that leftover inventory, and personally for my Depop, it wasn't selling after the trends kind of flopped over and we were on to the next thing before I could even sell all of them. So I ended up actually bringing all of those to Plato's Closet because they are name brand. I got rid of those and I made probably like my $200 back anyways. So that wasn't the worst thing ever. There are things that obviously got damaged or that I ended up throwing out that was just sitting in my inventory for so long, which example, shoes. It happens to shoes a lot of the time. Things do wear out, staining, all that I didn't catch at the thrift, I end up just throwing out. And there was a couple things that I did end up just redonating. But for the most part, I will literally just, this is my little hidden secret. But for the most part, when something doesn't sell on my Depop, I just rephotograph it and I put it back on and it usually sells like that. It's the weirdest thing ever, but for the most part, I'm like, okay, this is really cute. Why hasn't this sold yet? I will rephotograph it, make it look better, and it sells like that. So that is kind of what I do, and it's hard for me to like continue to rephotograph things, so I feel like I'm always constantly playing catch up. But at the end of the day, things have been selling, so it works. Like I literally had this blouse that was sitting for like literally a year. I'm like, you know what? This is cute. I should just like rephotograph it. It's kind of in style. And when things get low in the inventory, like I have like 500 things listed, the last 250, not a lot of people are scrolling that far down. So some of those things are actually really like in style and on trend now. So I just rephotograph it and I resell it. Like this really funky looking blouse that maybe wasn't that on trend a few months ago is now super wanted, and I rephotographed it and it sold like that. Another thing is to lower the price, rephotograph, lower the price, then it can also sell or put your items on sale. But again, it all comes down to the picture, the photography, the lighting, all of that. Yeah, so a lesson that I really learned from that from the Champion pants is don't buy too much of a trend, because trends do come and they do go, and some go really quickly. And right now I'm trying to, you know, keep cool on the Argyle because I can see myself just collecting way too much Argyle right now and I need to chill out on that. So that's a lesson that I can tell you is, you know, when you're a reseller, you know something's hot right now, you just want to get your hands on everything. Well, maybe just sell everything you have first of that and then get some more. But I know it's really hard as a reseller to do that because I have that issue too. Okay, the next point that I want to kind of talk about with the like photograph and the lighting is sometimes the picture is too far. And this is something that I learned is I used to think that I should have my face in the first photograph for some reason. And I was like, you know what? I look cute. I want to have the cutest picture in the front, but you're not selling yourself. I'm not selling myself. I'm selling the clothing item that I'm putting up for sale. So you want to have the main picture, the very first picture, something that's eye-catching, something that's a little bit more zoomed in, and something that they are going to see. Because when you're scrolling, the picture is so small that if you're already far enough from the camera, they're not even gonna see what you're wearing. And that is something that I seriously learned. The other thing is the up-close butt picture as well with the jeans. That helps. Then they can see the Levi's tag, they can see the Versace tag. That is really extremely helpful as well. So that is something that I've learned, even honestly more recently, is to just have the picture up close and personal and not necessarily your face in the first picture. Keep that picture for like the third and fourth one, that's fine. Get a couple different angles, but make sure the first picture is the most eye-catching one, the closest one that you can get, where you can just see the whole top but not any more around it. That is literally my biggest tip for you guys today. Actually, I have so many tips, but like that is one that I've learned recently that has been a game changer for me in reselling, especially tops. It can also help to style items, so add some, you know, if you have a cute top, add a cute pair of pants to go with this. I used to do this a lot, but honestly, it is a lot more time consuming, so I try to just keep it basic with the tops. I also just have in this drawer down here, I literally keep a bunch of tank tops. So when I'm taking my pictures, I can just put a different color. I thrifted all of these and just cut all of them. Different tank tops. And I basically just take the, like switch different colors with the pants that I'm wearing, and it gives it a little bit of a different look instead of just keeping like the same top with everything. You could also just pair a pair of pants that you're selling with a top that you're selling and take pictures like that. It is extremely helpful to style. One time, I used to do this all the time actually, and like there was like 1 or 2 times where the girl was like, hey, can I just buy that whole outfit including the shoes? And I was like, yes. So it does help to style them, and if you're lazy like me or you want to get as much inventory out as you can like me, maybe just stick to, you know, getting yourself done up, making sure you have like some nice hair, makeup. You know, you're really trying to sell the item. Like, you want to sell the item. So when you're selling the item, you want to sell the look. So, you know, get cute, have fun with it. Sometimes it's fun to do your hair a little bit different. It's fun to like add some fun clips in your hair, make you look a little bit more fun, interesting, like you're selling it. You really want to market, you're marketing yourself pretty much. And you want to just have it be so inviting, like they need to have that piece in their wardrobe or they literally will fall off the face of the earth, and they're like, I need it. That's what you want to make them feel like. And add like some sunglasses, add bags. That's my favorite thing, is to add some sunnies in a bag, and it's like, oh my god, that's so cute, look at that fit. The other thing to talk when styling, these clips, obviously not everything fits me, so when I have bigger items, I will usually clip at the back, which I state in my description. You should also state it in your description so people know, and that way things fit me nicer and they can see it tried on. Okay, as for shoes are like the weirdest thing to take pictures of, I've found, because I've tried so many different ways and sometimes shoes can sit. The worst way to style shoes is not trying them on. That is the way that I found that my shoes do not sell whatsoever unless they're literally Nike sneakers, limited edition, blah blah blah. But it's so hard to sell like a pair of like cute vintage shoes or vintage mules or heels especially on Depop if you don't try them on, because boots will, it depends on what they are, but trying on the shoes is the best way to do it. I used to do this thing where I would like put my feet up in the air. That's kind of cute too, but I kind of got over that. Also, it hurts my abs a little bit, so I stopped with that. I just find the way that I take my shoe pictures now has been the best for me, and I'll pop up some images for you guys, but that is definitely a good tip. Is shoes are tough. You want to get to them cleaned up as best you can. My mom actually cleans all the shoes, so I'm not the best with it, but she just uses some like Clorox, especially for like the white, and she just scrubs. And but be careful when you are thrifting shoes. This is another thing to mention. Shoes, especially older shoes, vintage shoes, they fall apart. They will fall apart, and that can lead to some unhappy customers and some refunds, and that's the last thing that you want. So when you're at the thrift, just like play around with them a little and make sure that they're stiff and good to go and that they're not going to fall apart, because it is literally the worst thing ever when you get a pair of shoes home and you're trying them on and they fall apart, or if they get to a customer and they're like, I wore them once and they fell apart, and it's just like, it's so annoying. So definitely check the shoes out and make sure that they're good. Okay, so the items. I got a lot of questions about what items sell best. This is a difficult question because, again, it depends what platform that you're selling on. There are so many items that I've sold that, I don't know, everybody loves something. Like, you know that quote, one man's trash is another man's treasure? I feel like you can literally resell anything if it's styled properly and you make it look cute. Like, at one point in time, somebody wore it, so obviously it was kind of cute in some way or another. So I don't know, like, there's things that I take a little bit more of a risk on at the thrift store, and those are the things that literally always sell first. Like, my mom will be writing out the descriptions and like doing the measurements for each item, which is something that you definitely have to include. Measurements like the inseam, the waist measurements, the hips measurements, the rise measurements, which is something on pants, and then you can also add the bust on tops. And then obviously shoe sizes, you can add the shoe size as well in the description. That is something that I just didn't even realize. Get some tape measures, you can literally get them at the dollar store super cheap. My mom does my measurements for me, she types them up, but she'll literally write beside these items being like, oh my god, this is so ugly. First thing to sell, because it's like that unique item that you're not gonna see anybody wearing. It's always the item that I love the most, because it's like, it's borderline ugly, but it's literally so cool at the same time, and you're not gonna see anybody else wearing it. Those are the things that always sell first. Those are the things that I thrift that just make me the happiest girl ever. It's usually the vintage, tacky, like 60s, 70s, 80s pieces. So I don't really have like an exact answer for you for that. I do sell anything that I consider to be cute. But again, you want to make sure that maybe like not everybody has your style, right? So sometimes I'll thrift things and I'm like, I probably wouldn't wear this. I don't really like it, but I know that there is a huge, like a bunch of other people that would. And that is something that you have to think about too. I personally I honestly like a lot of things, so I don't have that big of an issue. But if you're somebody who is more of a basic dresser, try to step outside your comfort zone when getting into reselling, because a lot of the basic stuff sits for me personally, because anybody can get that anywhere, especially if they're on Depop. They probably thrift anyways, so they can go find a basic white or gray t-shirt anywhere. So definitely think about getting the stuff that's like, you're not gonna find that anywhere on anybody. That's like, I know it's hard to like really find that one piece, but it's out there and you can do it. That is my biggest piece of advice for you guys when it comes to that. As for like seasons, I got a lot of questions asking if I thrift seasons. So the thrift store does flip over for seasons. Like there'll be more coats in the wintertime and more bathing suits in the summertime. So I do thrift, I guess, according to season, because that's the way the thrift stores are. Like there's not really any sweaters in the summertime anyways. But I do thrift like jackets. I feel like you find better jackets and coats in the summertime, or like the summer like leading into fall, where not a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's gonna be freezing right now. So I do thrift those items a little bit sooner than when the weather completely changes over, because at that time a lot of the items are picked over. So you kind of have to start to think about the seasons beforehand. There's also a lot of places like Florida and Australia that are warm right now and are looking for shorts and tank tops and stuff like that. So it's okay to not only sell sweaters in the winter, it's okay to try to sell some bathing suits. People are going on vacation, maybe not right now because of COVID, but in regular times, that's happening. And another thing to think about right now is COVID. What are people probably not buying? So what you should not be reselling right now: evening wear, going out dresses, heels. I've stopped buying a lot of dresses and heels right now because nobody's leaving the house. Even like it's more casual right now. Ooh, that is something that you have to think about. What's going on in the world? What are people into? More comfortable casual clothes is what I meant. Things that people can just take their Instagram pictures in. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. You also want to try to get ahead of the trends. So I remember when checkerboard was starting to become a really big thing, like what, 3 years ago? I remember just like trying to thrift everything checkerboard before like Forever 21 or Pretty Little Thing got their hands on the checkerboard situation, because as soon as those fast fashion companies get their hands on it, it's a little bit harder to sell in your shop the basic trends. Another example is like bike shorts. I've been selling bike shorts on my Depop for like 4 years since I started it, because it's an 80s trend. And now all like the last year and a half or 2 years-ish, they've really become like mainstream fashion. Like you go to the mall and there's bike shorts there. And so I've been selling them for like 2 years prior. You really want to hop onto the trends before the trends are in your everyday shopping mall. That's the other really big tip for you. And a lot of people do like to not shop fast fashion. So if you can hop onto that trend and really sell the fact that it's used clothing, it's good for the environment, then maybe people are gonna buy your bike shorts instead of Pretty Little Things. And that is something to always think about. Any item with like a vintage tag is always a must. If you think something is cute and you're like, I wanna buy this, and it has a vintage tag, probably buy it and put it in your shop. If you see something that's cute and it says Forever 21, probably not necessarily the best thing to put in your shop. Sometimes I resell things from fast fashion brands that I've had sitting in my closet for a while, but I don't really ever thrift fast fashion brands for the most part and try to resell them, unless it's like Nike or Adidas, things like that sell pretty quickly. But which again, brands, that's something, not only vintage brands, but like real life, real-time brands are the ones that sell quickest. I find Nike, Adidas, Polo, Tommy, those are all things that sell really, really quick off Depop. Anything with a brand, any sort of jeans, Levi jeans, Versace, of course, any sort of like luxury vintage brand that's like well priced. Even like little cute little fake pieces that you can find, fake designers, as long as you let the buyer know that it's fake. You can find some really cute vintage fakes at the thrift, and those sell like hotcakes. I don't recommend selling fakes that are like you're just buying right now. Like, that's not cool. But if you see a cute little fakey Fendi or a fakey Dior at the thrift, and you know, you can resell it to somebody who wants to, you know, have that designer look without spending thousands of dollars, they can do that as long as you make it clear in the description. Don't not make that clear, because that would be pretty and you'd get a pretty review. If you're here to become like a full-time seller, I suggest not cleaning out your closet unless you literally have Kylie Jenner's closet to start reselling. Yes, you can put like different bits on from your closet here and there if they are thrifted, but again, as I mentioned, the things from Forever 21, the things from Pretty Little Thing, they don't tend to sell, and you can't make that big of a profit margin anyways. Unless you're just doing it for fun, then sure, go ahead, this might not be the video for you. But if you're looking to actually start this and really get into it and collect and get an inventory and all that, you need to look for brands that aren't like that. Like, you need to, you know, take out $200, take out $300 and really start. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. You're not just gonna throw on things and everyone's gonna magically buy it. No, it's going to take time. It's gonna take patience. And I know you're like, Melissa, you have a following, so that's why you sell so much. But no, I've been doing this for 5 years. It takes time. There's so many people who resell that don't have a following, but they just know what to pick. Okay, moving on. So yes, the hard truth about reselling. Not everybody maybe has the eye for it, or sometimes you have to just take a step back and think, like, if nothing is really working and you keep nobody's buying your stuff, maybe you need to just take a step back and look at what you're selling. Maybe look at other people's pages and be like, oh my god, they're selling all this stuff. Maybe look at what they're selling and see how they're making so many sales and stuff like that. And if it's just not correlating, maybe you're on the wrong platform, maybe you're just not picking out the right things. And that is something that I'm gonna sit here and be your friend and tell you, and sometimes I definitely need to be told this, that there's certain things that you just need to not pick up at the thrift store. Maybe just because you like it, not everybody likes it, and it's not a hot seller, and that's something that you need to take into consideration when reselling. It's not a selfish industry. You're not just selling because you like it or because you're into it. You have to really think outside the box, do your research, and sometimes people just don't have the same eye at the thrift or the patience. And that is the one hard truth that I want to tell you guys, is to beware before you dive deep into this reselling situation, is to really sit down and think, do I have this? Am I that into fashion? Do I know what I'm doing? Because it is not that easy as maybe some people make it look. Reselling can be super simple, especially if you're just a basic reseller who just shops for name brands, which I forget her name, but State's Place, she does that where she'll go to the bins and just thrift everything name brand and put that all on eBay, and that is really, really simple. But if you're looking to be more of an aesthetic seller, sometimes that is a little bit harder to do. And just do your research and think about what kind of seller you want to be. Okay, let's talk about posing. I got a lot of questions about posing. Again, something that I never really thought, and everybody's like, my friends are like, sometimes they're like, Melissa, how do you pose in Instagram pictures? And I'm like, I don't know, it just comes natural. But then I realized it doesn't come natural. I've just worked on it for so many years. I've done it for so many years that I just know my poses. And the way that I like to do my posing, obviously we all started somewhere. I was probably very stiff. I'll put some photos actually from when I first started. I was definitely very stiff, didn't know what I was doing, and my posing has definitely changed over the years. For pants, I like to do certain poses that really show, again, the butt pose is what I told you guys before, where you can really see the tag. You want to pose in the best way to show what the pants are gonna look like on, and make them look good. You want to make them look as good as you can, because you're trying to sell something. That's what we're trying to do here. For pants, I like to pose, and I'll put some different types of poses up that you can copy. I like to put my camera at a low angle to elongate my legs and really show the best way possible what the pants look like. So you don't even have to have a top in it. Like, you can wear the top, but like cut off and crop it so you just see the pants, because you're just selling pants. So it's the best way to sell pants on the butt photo. I promise you, you need to do it if you haven't done it yet. For tops, just make different faces. Have fun with it. I know I get bored and it's repetitive, and I've been doing it for years, but just have fun with it. Sunglasses with it, put a different bag with everything, and just pose like relaxed and comfortable, not too stiff. Just like stand tall, be confident, all of that. And it can be an uncomfortable thing, but you're literally here by yourself. So who cares? Just have fun with it. Pretend you're like Victoria's Secret model, pretend you're like Hilary Duff in the Hilary Duff movie, and just rock with it, you know? You're Hannah Montana, just go with the flow. I'll put a bunch of poses that I like to do. I like to do arms for blouses because that way you can see the arms with it. I like to do this a lot with like t-shirts because it's like I'm wearing a Harley t-shirt type of situation. Little tank tops, I like to just come super close to the camera, honestly. Don't even show my face that much in it. I like to use these little booby things when I have like a booby top just to make it look like I have more boobs, and it makes, I can't find them right now, but they're just like little boob inserts, and they just make you look more full in the chest, and which is a little bit more appealing for selling as well. Certain things like that definitely help selling. Trying on is better than flat lays. I cannot tell you enough. I started doing flat lays on Depop, and it was honestly the most annoying thing ever, getting questions being like, can I see a try on? Can I see a try on? And the results I saw from not trying on to trying on clothes is like insane. So definitely, if you can, definitely try to try on the clothes. Obviously not everything fits everybody, and I will just like usually like lay them on my body if it doesn't fit me properly. So that's something that I've started to do recently, or maybe ask a friend to help you out. Have fun with your friends, you know? This is the worst part about it. It takes about 3 hours for me to do 40 items, and I typically like to try to push out about 100 items weekly. It can be very time consuming, so if you want to do this as your side hustle and just put out 10 items a week, just know that's probably going to take an hour to take the pictures, and then probably 2 or 3 hours to import and upload the pictures. And you can also just take the pictures on your iPhone, could be a little bit quicker as well. I personally import my photos to my computer and edit all my photos to brighten them up, and then I actually crop all the photos to put them into Depop, pick the ones that I want to do. I take like 20 photos per item. I end up only using 4. I'm very picky. Get my mom to do the measurements, so she does all the measurements for me, puts them all in a document, and then Fran actually fills in all of the descriptions and all the details in the actual Depop app. So it is definitely all of us doing the work, because for me personally, I have other things to do with YouTube, and the taking the pictures takes so long that I have hired somebody to help me do that, and I've found that it has helped me be able to balance other things in my life. So if you're just willing to do that much and put like 100 items out a week, then that maybe getting some help could help you, or just doing it yourself. At one point I was just doing it myself and I was able to do it. You can just take the pics on your phone, on your iPhone, and simple as that, outside, use natural lighting. It could be a really cheap business venture that can turn a lot of profit if you are good at it. Or you could put a little bit investment into it, make a YouTube channel with your lights even, get yourself a camera. The camera that I use is a Lumix. It's literally the best camera ever. I use my phone as my remote, and I just click away and take my pictures on timer mode, and I keep going and I keep going and I keep going. And that is how I take my pictures. So definitely try-ons better than flat lay. My backdrops. I've been getting really into different colored backdrops. At first it was just white. Crisp, clean, white. If you don't want to spend a lot of money on backdrops, just get the white one. Crisp, everything looks good. You don't have to change them for different seasons. For me personally, I've started to do, well, red right now because it's Valentine's Day. I had blue when it was like winter. I had like orangey yellow for fall. I had pink for the summertime. So there are different backdrops. Where I get my backdrops is Henry's. It's a Canadian company. I'm not sure about the States. I'm sorry about that. But they're about $100 each. And it comes with, it's paper backdrop. If you're in the States and you're looking to order one, you can just Google paper backdrops from somewhere. I love my backdrops. I think that they're super fun, and you can make like little videos with them too. So, okay, captions. I use emojis a lot of the time. I'm really like into it. Like, yes, this is the most amazing thing ever. Like, you're selling your item, you know? And I truly believe it too. It's not like I'm just selling you junk. Like, I truly believe what I'm saying. Like, I think it's cute. Like, I thrifted it. Like, I'm like, oh my god, this is so cute. Like, you see me in my trip to the thrift. It's not like I'm lying. I just truly am expressing how I feel about the item. I don't know if that helps sell it, but I do it anyways. yeah, I put like different words in the caption, like a wardrobe must, an essential, paired with this, how I would style this type of situation. I used to be a little bit more in depth. Now I'm not as in depth because honestly Fran does the descriptions now, but I used to like do a little bit more of an explanation. I use a lot of emojis, just super fun like that. I get a lot of questions about tags and hashtags. I don't actually use the hashtags. I just get the description filled out to the best of the ability it can. But I personally got really annoyed as a shopper when I would search like Prada bag and I'd see somebody's whole shop of like t-shirts that I wasn't looking for because they tagged Prada in it, and I just like got really annoyed as a shopper, so I stopped doing it as a seller. I don't know, it didn't help me buy their things because I wasn't looking for their things, so I'm not sure if that really helps, but who knows, maybe it does. Let me know. I don't do that. I found Depop because they actually hit me up a long time ago, probably 7 years ago, to work with them, and I was like, okay, why not? This is before Depop was even Depop. I also used to watch The Fashion Citizen, which was like a couple sisters who were really into thrifting, and they were always talking about Depop. This was like years ago, like 7 years ago, like so long ago. And that's how I found Depop. I literally was on Depop before it was even in Canada. Like, it was like a UK site and maybe a little bit in the States. And I actually had like 1,000 followers before I actually started because I downloaded the app like 2 years in advance of like reselling. So that was kind of helpful, I guess. I was just kind of like one of the earliest people to start reselling on Depop, other than like iGirl and like people in the UK. So I think that definitely helped. Again, it's just time and patience. It's same thing with YouTube, just time and patience and work, and nothing is fast-tracked. I know we want everything to be at the tip of our fingers, but everything takes hard work nowadays. So something else that you need to take in consideration is when pricing your items. You guys are a little bit, some of you guys who live in the States are a little bit luckier. I feel like, actually I know, especially when I would be thrifting in Florida, your thrift store is a little bit more inexpensive than the ones in Canada, so you're a little bit luckier than us. So you're able to kind of have a little bit more lenience on your prices. I also believe your shipping is a little bit cheaper from state to state than in Canada, from the States and Canada. Like, for me to ship from Ontario to BC is literally $14, but I'm pretty sure in the States, if you're shipping state to state, it's like $5 to $8. So it's a lot cheaper, and you have a much better way of marking up your items, because you're spending, like when I go thrifting in Florida, like I'm getting like items for $1 and $2. Here in Canada, when I thrift, it's between like $8 and $10 per item. So I have to, well, like probably $5 and $10 depending on what it is. So I have to really think when I'm at the thrift store, is this really worth getting? Because I'm only gonna make what, $1 or $2 on if I actually turn this over. And that's something that I've really started to take more into consideration, because I used to just be reckless with buying everything, and now I really think, am I going to make a profit on this? Can I make a profit on this? Is this going to sell for what I want it to? Because sometimes you go to the Value Village and things are like $15.99 for a Harley Davidson t-shirt because they know that resellers are coming to take it. I'm only going to sell that for $25 on Depop. I'm not going to make any money, considering the fact that I have a Depop fee and a PayPal fee to pay. I'll maybe make like $4 or $5. Like, that is not worth my time. You really have to think when you're thrifting, the items to take in consideration, the prices, and also shipping is something that you kind of want to think about. I used to actually charge $5 shipping in Canada and like $10 to the States when I first started, simply because I wanted to get people to buy from my shop and get my shop going. So now I've upped my prices on my shipping because I am a more known seller on the app, and I make better, and I can make sales. So I don't want to lose money on shipping now. Just because I'm charging $12 or $10 for shipping in Canada does not mean I'm making money from the shipping. As I mentioned, it's like $12 or $14 to ship for anything from here to BC. So it's not like I'm making money on the shipping, and to the States, again, it's also expensive. So you have to think about that. Think about maybe lowering your shipping price, maybe adding a couple more dollars onto your actual price of the item, just to even out the ship, so the shipping doesn't, like, because people, when they see the shipping price is like $10 or $12, they rethink it. But if they just see like an item for $27 and the shipping $8 instead of $25 and the shipping $10, the something in their head might click a little bit more and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna buy it because shipping's only $8, not $10 now. So that's something to think about a little bit of marketing knowledge there. Also the 99-cent rule, instead of, you know, shipping for $10, you could do $9.99, or even your items, instead of an item for $25, $25.99, just to get that little extra dollar, which helps a lot for shipping costs, fees costs, all of that. A question I get very often is why I'm not verified on Depop. Very good question, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure I was once verified. However, I kind of broke a couple rules with Depop and I think they unverified me. I was selling through e-transfer, which is not allowed technically on the app because I do sell in USD, which is another question that I get asked. Why do you sell in USD if you live in Canada? The amount of people who would ask me on the app when I was selling in Canadian dollars, the conversion rate to US or the conversion rate to pounds, they didn't understand the Canadian dollar. And I am just trying to do everything to make my life easier, my employees' life easier, and I get like 50 notifications daily. Like if I have to keep responding to the same questions, it's just really, really time consuming and I have other things to get done. So that's why I started to sell in USD, and since I changed currency, I have not gotten one question about that. So that is just why I sell in USD. As for shipping, I didn't really want to talk about it that much, simply because we all live in different parts of the world, and I ship with Canada Post, and if you live in the States, that's super irrelevant to you. So you're gonna have to do your own research when it comes to shipping, unfortunately. But my mom actually does all my shipping, so I'm not even the best with it anyways, but definitely you can do your research. I'm trying to be better now with not buying as much inventory. Obviously it's hard because I go to my trip to the thrifts. However, this last year has been kind of good because we've been closed down for so long, so I was able to play catch up. And with me being in school, it was tough because I was doing trip to the thrifts, but I didn't have a lot of time to actually take the pictures, so I had so much inventory in quarantine, which was really good. I finally felt like I was almost caught up to everything, and then I ended up buying a bunch of inventory from a reseller. So now I have a bunch of inventory. The thrifts are being reopened tomorrow, so we're back in business, we're back and ready to go. But that is definitely something that you want to think about, is inventory. Also, patience. Patience is the biggest virtue when it comes to reselling, so definitely think about that. But that is my video. That is my reselling tips video, how to make your bag, 10K a month, how to be a reseller. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you and gave you some tips. Let me know if you have any more questions in the comments down below. I will try to answer them for you, and I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and good luck with your reselling. Bye.